Good morning and good evening and good afternoon. Welcome to another show on the Sports Music and Live podcast. Today I'm going to bring you a review on the Kooks at the O2, which I had the joy to go and watch on Saturday, the 11th of October. I believe that's the right date, or it was the 12th. So, I've been a big fan of the Kooks since their early days when they come out, in that era when you had the Arctic Monkeys, you had Razor, like the Libertines and bands like that, the indie band, when it really picked up again or kicked off again, because you had the era where it sort of died out a bit from the 90s, from the Britpop era, from the Oasises and the Blurs and the things like that. So it really picked up again, and of course the Kaiser Chiefs, they had some great tunes too. So I've been a fan of the Kooks since then. Great band, and they have a great singer-songwriter in Luke Pritchard, who I believe has done a bit of acting too, when I just had a little research on him. Didn't know that. So I think he's generally one of the most talented, or one of the most talented songwriters out there, and he has got a great voice, and he put on a great show. A good frontman too, must say. He interacts with the crowds and that, and they put on a great show. With them, they had the K supporting them. Now, with the K's, I mean, no disrespect when I say this. I just think the outfits of the band and the rock of the band, the way they were, they're sort of like dressed in the Adidas and things like that, it just didn't suit the lead singer's voice. That was my view on them. I mean, a talented band, anyone that can step up and do that and write songs and write music is a talent, as far as I'm concerned. It's not easy to do. So you've got to give them credit where credit's due. They did put on a good show, and the young lot loved them, absolutely loved them. It was one, and the drinks were going everywhere, so they have a great following. But for me personally, I just felt the voice wasn't right for the instrumental behind it. It was, and it was a good voice. It wasn't terrible voice. I thought he had a cracking voice, but it just wasn't for me. But that is my view on it. Other people might love them, and you know, we've all got different tastes and for me, I just think the outfits that they wore, with like the trackies and all that, it just didn't suit the voice. So that was my review on them, and I found it hard to get into them, if I'm honest with you, because of that. I just like, when I'm seeing someone dressed like that, I'm picturing Oasis when they've done Main Road, and when they walked out to the old Man City ground and that, you know what I mean? And they had the football tops on the trackies, and they had that swagger and attitude with it. And then his voice went with it. It all went. But like I say, for the K's lead singer's voice, for me, just didn't suit the image of the band. But like I say, that's not saying that he was an awful singer, because he had a great voice. So let's get into it with the Kooks. So surprisingly, Luke Pritchard announced on the mic that it took him 20 years to fill someone like the O2 out. Now, I would have had them down as being able to fill that out, because I was quite surprised. Actually, what I was very surprised that, I'll get into this, what I remember is that the young following they had, and it was all through TikTok and the social media, that they come across them. And I personally think it's what I call now the Radio 1 crowd. The young people, for people my age group, sort of gone off Radio 1 now and moved into other stations like Radio X and things like that. So obviously they still got that Radio 1 following, which is great for them. They deserve it. They grafted enough years, and they've got a catalogue of songs they could do. They're that good of a band for me. I hold them in high regards as to a very talented band, and a very talented singer and songwriter too in Luke Pritchard. And yeah, so that was very surprising that they took that long to come, and there were some very interesting characters in the crowd. I must say, very surprised that some of the people that was there. It wasn't. I went in there with an image of how it's going to be, and it wasn't that. But that's that. Let's get into the band itself. So they played hit after hit. They didn't play one song that wasn't good. What was surprising to me, actually, is there's a song called Sway, which I think is one of their strongest songs they've ever done. It is a cracking song. It is my favourite Kooks song, I will say. And when I mentioned it to a couple of people, young people there, they didn't know it. It's like, wow, really? Like, for me, that would be a massive song. And the Seaside, but everyone knows the Seaside. And this was the most amazing moment for me, because that's exactly how I'd play them if I had them playing in a row, and I'd be going Seaside into Sway, because I think they're the two strongest songs they've got. Yes, you've got Naive, but we've all heard Naive so many times, and it is a great song. And Ooh La La, and they brought out all the hits, and it was amazing. And there was one song that so his dad passed away when he was 3, and he wrote a letter to him, and he was saying now his son's 3, he realised how strong it is, and he made it into a song. And that's the genius of a songwriter. For those who write songs, understand that it could be a life experience, or you can have a story. And that was a life experience for him, and it was a bit of a like emotional moment of the night. But as bands do, when the song gets played, you get drawn into that song, and it is amazing. So yeah, from my review on the Kooks, yeah, any chance to get to go and see them, I would go and see them if you can. They will put on a great show, and they'll for us fans that have known them from the start and not just getting into them, we'll go back on that catalogue of songs that they have, and I'll guarantee you they'll play majority of all their hits in that, and you'll have a cracking night. And hopefully they'll get to start selling that more arenas, because they're a band that deserves it too for me. Because granted, for years, I think, what was it, 1 to every 2 years they will bring an album out, and yeah, an amazing band. I'll certainly be adding Luke Pritchard when we do a podcast again, me and Paul, on singer and songwriters. He certainly will be getting added to that. I always find if you listen to a song live, that even if they just wrote it, or you go and watch it live, if they can absolutely nail that, for me, that is that's how you know how good a song is, should I say. So yeah, absolute amazing band. Glad I got to finally get to see them. Like I say, there'll be some interesting characters when you go there. People from my era will understand that, but forget the people was there. It's all about the band and how good they were. And I promise you now, you will not be let down by the Kooks if you get a chance to go and see them. So that was the Kooks review at the O2. Thank you for those that are listening. That will be it for gigs for me this year. Been to quite a fair few, and I'm gonna have to have a think about and have a review at the end for, and let you know who's the best, because I've seen some cracking bands this year, I must say. So yeah, thank you for listening again on the Sports Music and Live podcast, and I'll be bringing you another show shortly. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, sorry, for people that don't know the show or would like to share the show, please do give us the thumbs up. Please subscribe to us, get the channel going. We'll really appreciate that. I know it's all the nonsense you hear all the time, but it's certainly I can understand why they do it, because it'd be nice to get the show out there and getting more people listening. If you've got comments, please leave a comment. If there's something you don't like or something you like, please let me know. Give us a review back on what you think. Yeah, so thank you for listening, and I'll bring you another show shortly. Thank you.